Before a boxer ever touches a single dollar, they sign a contract that legally values their health at absolute zero. You start at the bottom with $0, zero clout, and a pair of worn-out gloves that don't even belong to you. Your locker room is a damp basement that smells like rusty iron and old sweat. You aren't fighting for fame. You're fighting just to get someone to notice you exist. Every single round you fight as an amateur is completely unpaid, but the physical toll is already stacking up. You bleed, you sweat, you suffer microconcussions that accumulate quietly behind your eyes. All for a cheap plastic trophy and a handshake. The real trap of boxing begins the moment you decide to turn professional. You think turning pro means the paychecks start rolling in. But the system is designed to break you financially before you ever get a chance to build wealth. Welcome to your first professional fight, where your official purse is precisely $500. You step out of the ring with blood in your mouth, feeling like a conqueror, until you sit down in the locker room and look at the ledger. Your trainer takes 20% right off the top. Your cutman takes 10%. Your medical licenses cost $200. And the sanctioning fees swallow the rest. You just risked your brain for a net loss of $50. And that is where the dark financial trap of early boxing tightens its grip, to make any money at all. The promoter tells you to sell tickets yourself. If you don't sell 50 tickets to your friends, family, and coworkers, you don't fight. You become a full-time ticket salesman who happens to get punched in the face on weekends. If you can't sell those tickets, you become what the industry quietly calls an opponent. An opponent isn't brought in to win. You are brought in to lose to a rising star who has money backing him. They pay you $2,000 to take a beating on 3 days' notice. With no time to prepare, no proper sparring, and no medical protection, you are being paid to be human meat for someone else's highlight reel. If you refuse to play that game, you have to win when the odds are stacked against you. You have to knock out their golden boy in his hometown, in front of his crowd, and force the system to acknowledge your existence. And when you finally do that, your value changes overnight. Suddenly, you reach the $5,000 purse level. You think you've broken through, but this is where the predators in suits start taking notice. A promoter walks into your gym with a slick smile, expensive shoes, and a 5-year exclusive promotional contract. He hands you a $10,000 signing bonus in cash. And to a fighter living on instant noodles and stolen gym time, that money looks like a fortune. So you sign it, without realizing what you just gave away. Hidden deep inside the fine print of that contract is an options clause. That clause means the promoter owns your next 10 fights, fixes your purse at a set amount, and takes a percentage of every dollar you earn, even if you become the champion of the world. You traded your long-term freedom for short-term survival. By the time you fight your way to a regional title, your purse reaches $50,000. On paper, you are doing better than most working-class people. But the illusion vanishes the moment you look at your bank account. To fight at this level, you need top-tier sparring partners, and they don't work for free. You pay them $800 a week, plus room and board. You pay a strength coach, a sports nutritionist, a manager, a cutman, and a dedicated physical therapist out of that $50,000 purse. Federal and state taxes eat nearly $20,000 immediately. Your team takes 30%. Your camp expenses swallow another $12,000, and after 12 weeks of brutal physical punishment, you walk away with barely $4,000 in profit. You are fighting for a living, but you are still living paycheck to paycheck. Then comes the call that changes everything. A major network offers you a main event fight, a world title shot with a guaranteed purse of $1 million. The number feels surreal. It echoes in your head like a dream. $1 million. You picture the house you're going to buy, the debts you're going to erase, the stability you're finally going to give your family. You enter the ring. Endure 12 grueling rounds of absolute war, tear your shoulder muscle in the 7th, swallow your own blood in the 10th, and hear the final whistle. The judges read the scorecards, and you are crowned the new world champion. You raise your hands, tears streaming through the swelling on your face, believing you are finally a millionaire. Then the tax season hits, and the real financial slaughter begins. The government takes 40% right off the top. Your promoter takes his court-mandated cut. Your manager takes his 20%, your trainer takes 10%. And the 3 major sanctioning bodies each demand 3% of your gross earnings just to let you hold their shiny belt, before you even touch your check. Over $700,000 has been carved away by men who never took a single punch in their lives. And it gets worse, because now that you are a world champion, you have a status to maintain. The industry expects you to look, act, and live like a star. You buy the luxury car, you move into the gated community. You start paying for a security team, and suddenly, people from your past begin appearing out of nowhere. Childhood friends, distant relatives, acquaintance managers, all standing with their hands open, claiming they were there for you when you had nothing. You become an ATM with a target on your chest. Your monthly overhead skyrockets from $2,000 to $40,000, which means you cannot afford to stop fighting. You are no longer fighting for passion, or glory, or legacy. You are fighting to feed a massive financial machine that will starve the second you step out of the ring. This is the exact point where most champions go broke. Because one injury, one loss, or one canceled event can trigger an avalanche of debt that buries them forever. To survive, you have to step into the dangerous realm of $10 million purses, the pay-per-view market at this level. Boxing stops being a sport completely and becomes a ruthless media operation. You aren't just selling your fighting skills anymore. You are selling controversy. You learn that quiet, humble, polite fighters do not sell pay-per-views. The audience doesn't pay $80 to watch two good athletes compete. They pay to see a villain get destroyed or a hero get knocked out, so you build a persona. You start talking trash at press conferences, throwing tables, insults, creating fake rivalries, and playing the villain because every angry tweet directly translates into thousands of buys. You become a prisoner of the monster you created for the media. You earn $10 million for a fight. But your body is beginning to send you quiet, terrifying signals. Your hands ache so badly in the morning that you can't grip a coffee cup. Your memory slips during long interviews. You forget names you've known for years, and a constant, dull ringing hums inside your ears late at night when the room goes dark. Your doctors warn you that your brain needs rest, that every hard fight is adding permanent, irreversible neurological damage. Dependencies start to creep in. Painkillers just to get through training camp. Sleeping pills just to shut off the adrenaline before fight night. You look at your bank account, you have $15 million sitting there, and yet you cannot walk away. Why? Because the entourage you built, the 60 people who depend on your fight checks for their mortgages, their cars, their livelihoods, keep whispering in your ear, just one more fight, one more big payday. They don't see your shaking hands. They only see their next paycheck. And then, you reach the absolute pinnacle of the sport. The $50 to $350 million level. You are no longer just a fighter. You are the promoter. You bought out your old contract. You control the distribution. You own the pay-per-view rights. And you take a piece of the concessions, the ticket sales, the international broadcast rights, and the casino sponsorships. You enter the ring. And the entire stadium of 80,000 people is screaming your name. The spectacle is breathtaking. The energy could power a small city, and for 36 minutes, you are a living god. You win. You earn $350 million in a single night, making you one of the richest athletes on the planet. You buy the mansions, the private jets, the diamond watches, the sports teams, the real estate portfolios. You have achieved wealth that will last for generations. You stand in the center of your $50 million estate at 2 in the morning, looking out at the skyline. The house is dead silent. There are no fans screaming. No reporters thrusting microphones into your face. No entourage clapping at every word you say. You try to read a book, but the words blur together because your eyes won't focus quite right anymore. Your hands tremble softly as you pour a glass of water, and a deep, heavy cloud of depression settles over your mind. A common symptom of chronic brain trauma that no amount of money can ever cure. You spent 20 years trading your flesh, your brain, your youth, and your peace of mind to reach $350 million. You conquered the financial machine. You beat the system. You defeated every adversary put in front of you. But as you sit alone in the dark, listening to the persistent, quiet ring in your ears, you realize the ultimate, brutal truth of professional boxing. The sport didn't just make you rich, it slowly, methodically, bought